Primary thing that Ortlund appeals to is that God has no form, and we worship an invisible God. The problem with this is that it's rooted in Deuteronomy 5 and this Old Testament theology of the invisibility of God. And Ortlund's very right to turn to that passage to understand why imagery was forbidden within the Old Covenant. What do we see in the New Testament? In the Gospel of John, Christ says, "He who has seen me has seen the Father." And we see St. Paul in the letter to the Colossians say that Christ is the image of the invisible God. I was listening to a talk from James Jordan, and someone asked him, well, what about all this glory within the tabernacle and the temple? And Jordan conceded that Protestant churches often look far too ugly. But where do we see very glorious-looking, imageless houses of worship? Mosques are far more glorious in their artistry than even the best Protestant churches. And that's because Muslims do indeed believe that they worship an invisible God, a God who has never taken on form. Likewise, Judaism, which also rejects religious imagery, also do not believe in the incarnation and think that they worship an imageless God. Ultimately, Ortlund, Jordan, any sort of person who's putting forward an argument against the religious use of images wants to stay back in the Old Covenant. Their arguments are incompatible with the Christian faith.